Hi and welcome back to the channel. My name is Norf, I am from London, and this week we're going to cover off questions. Why are questions so important? Well, in my view, questions help you gain knowledge, understanding, and help give you clarity, to name just a few points. So in this video, we're going to cover off the 3 types of question, and we'll cover off their 6 corresponding groups. So if you're ready, let's get started. Having thought through well-prepared questions will stand you head and shoulders above anyone else. And you can use these questions whether you're in an interview, you're presenting online, or even if you're in a live stream. What does that give you? Asking great questions in an interview shows that you've done your homework and you're offering a level of curiosity. Asking great questions in a presentation or a live stream helps keep your audience engaged, helps keep that magic energy level really, really high. And it's for these reasons that well-crafted questions are so important. They're magic bullets, if you will. So in my humble opinion, there are 3 types of question. I'll give you the 3rd type of question right at the end of this video. Your first type of question is a closed question. Is the sky blue? Yes or no? It requires a binary response. The second type of question is an open question, and this is where you would use what, where, why, when, and how. It requires a lot more of a response from your delegates rather than just the binary yes-no response. Open questions tend to be factual questions. Why is the sky blue? How is the sky blue? The basis of any open question always starts with what, where, why, when, and how. I was always taught to remember that by drawing 4 bums on a rugby post. Am I allowed to say bums? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I was always taught to remember that by drawing 4 bottoms on a rugby post. Or to be a little bit more international, 4 butts on an NFL post. Now let's get into what I call the groups of questions. This is where you will use both open and closed questions to offer much more information for your delegate or the person you're asking the question to respond. When I say groups of questions, I mean how these questions are used. These groups of questions are probing questions, leading questions, loaded questions, funnel questions, recall and process questions, and then finally, rhetorical questions. Let's dig into these. Probing or trigger questions allow you to dig deeper to perhaps someone who's not willing to give you the full details up front. They allow you to start from big picture and to drill down to get to the information that you are looking for. A good example of probing or trigger questions would be in a courtroom. Probing questions are great for drawing information out of someone who is looking to avoid telling you something. Leading questions are where you start with an assumption. It might be good, it may be not so good, but it could be something like, I think this device is absolutely awesome. What do you think? Or you're asking the person for an A-B comparison. What about this or what about this? And you're looking to get their thoughts on those 2 subjects. Leading questions are great for steering the conversation because they can be heavily biased into getting the answer that you want. Loaded questions, similar to leading questions, are where you start with an assumption, but you're assuming something untoward about the person you're asking the question of. As an example, are you still stealing cookies? Funnel questions are probably the most typical group of questions that we will use. For example, if you're getting to know someone, you would start with something like, what's your name? Where do you live? Why did you choose to live there? What is it you do for a living? These funnel questions will start relatively wide and broad, and you'll end up drilling down to something that you find particularly interesting. It could well be, what do you do for a living? Why did you choose that career? What got you into that in the first place? Funnel questions are also really good for helping diffuse angry or stressful situations. Remember, with all of these questions, you are using either closed questions or you're using open questions to get more information from the person or team of people that you're speaking to. Recall and process questions are used for recalling factual information. And it will be something like, what's 9 times 9? Or what year did man first step foot on the moon? Recall and process questions allow for critical thinking, which is a key skill that many employees are looking for. Finally, rhetorical questions. These are questions that are asked that don't demand a response. For example, why does all of this always happen to me? And that's it for this video. Remember, we looked at the types of questions. I said that there were 3 types, and I'll give you the 3rd type in just a moment. We started with closed questions, which are binary. We then looked at open questions, which are what, where, why, when, and how. That's how you would start constructing those really good questions. We then looked at the 6 groups of questions that I've put into the categories probing, leading, loaded, funnel questions, recall and process, and then rhetorical questions. The 3rd type of question is what we call a wide open question. And that would still be using one of the open questions, but you would follow the what, where, why, when, and how by something that is subjective to you. For example, how do you feel about the sky being blue? By asking someone how they feel allows them to be much more subjective. Rather than talking about external facts, you're asking them about their internal facts, how they are feeling, what's their perspective. So to summarize, 3 types of question. Closed questions, very binary, yes, no. Open questions, what, where, why, when, and how. And wide open questions. How do you feel? Why do you feel? As a bonus from me this week, think about the tone that you're asking these questions with. Approximately 40% of how we communicate is delivered through our tone. Be sure to have the correct tone when you are asking your questions. Thank you so much for watching this week. Let me know in the comments section below what your killer questions are. Remember, by asking great questions in your interview, in your presentation, or in your live stream affords you the opportunity to not only show curiosity, but also to keep your audience or your delegates fully engaged. Remember, if you like this content, please like and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on when I upload new content to the channel. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.